It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. Off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you lie down, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my egun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my egun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my egun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo. My egun don't come, oh, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo. My egun don't come, oh, yo. Man of the masses.
Hello there.
Mayegun la wa mo do.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
So good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Glory Facebook, glory YouTube.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
I
can read all those tiny texts on these screens.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́.
Kọlu in America, Atiku. In America too.
Politico. Godfatherism.
Who is Miss Bola Tinubu? We will find out in another 24 hours.
Ani Mayegun lawamo dododo.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Yes. Thank you so much. Share this broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends and tell them Mayegun today.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn làkì.
Mayegun today.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làkì.
Mayegun today.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun today.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làkì.
Read the caption of the broadcast.
YouTube.
Mayegun today.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làkì.
Read the description as well. Follow it up with liking the video, sharing it. Atiku and Nobi have also filed their own appeal against the tribunal judgment. We are starting soon. Thank you. So good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun and this is live. If you have, like I advised, taken your time to read the caption, the description, and every other thing that will likely pop up tonight, that is just the first stage. You should have also paid your offering, which is like the broadcast. Because once you settle in, Baba, all of those will become like, no, I'm here now. I'm into it now. Yeah? Right. So, Kano in America, where he was billed to deliver a speech, he did deliver a speech. But you see other things that they listed. He will meet this, this one is waiting, that one is waiting. All of those things have come down, or they have come back to be Fabu, Iro. But the one that I am yet to actually pick on, which is so kind of more ridiculous and shocking, is that of Joe Biden, that sent one secretary from the embassy in Nigeria to invite Kano to come to America, and they publicized it. How Joe Biden avoided him. Whatever meeting they said he was going to have with Joe Biden at the United Nations, that didn't happen. And if it happened, that we are yet to see, well, maybe. But the one thing I have confirmed is that Joe Biden has left New York, where all of these guys were meeting. He's left New York after delivering his own speech and is returned back to Washington. Kano is still in New York. Maybe they would have to arrange a one-on-one with Biden inside the White House. Maybe. But at the United Nations, it can't be like, say, everybody, they avoid Kano. I'm not making this up. Kano delivered a speech to almost or nearly empty room. Make I show you something. And this is not like mocking. It's just to let you know that the world knows. And a lot of you are going to come to the reality that Nigeria is going to be known as a narco state. Nigeria is going to take the heat of what Thiefnubu represents. But to some, that is too early. No, it's not too early. It is already happening. Whenever you address the General Assembly of the United Nations, let me tell you how they normally do it, okay? Each president or each leader of any country that is billed to speak, including the President of America, they always have the time they will speak. And there are those who will be interested in listening to them, okay? Because of what that speech will mean to them on different fronts. So a lot of countries will attend when the President of America is speaking. When the Prime Minister, being a Premier of China, is speaking, you will see a lot of countries like they want to attend and their representatives. When you see a country like Nigeria addressing the United Nations General Assembly, you also see a lot of countries also there But you may not see the major countries like, US, except for their reps. But the all will tell you, the attendance will tell you, right? The caliber of person addressing them. There are countries that will boycott the General Assembly meeting because of a particular leader from a particular country that will be addressing the assembly. They will say no, they won't sit down there and listen to him or her. For those who kind of follow the global politics that way, okay? Now, whenever they're having their General Assembly meeting, this is what it looks like. Do you understand? See, when the president of America, during the time of Donald Trump, for example, right? So you have to have a full house, responsible country or reasonable, you know what I mean? Now, Kalu, who also addressed the General Assembly yesterday with the prepared speech, one of them was where instead of saying Bala Blue, Bulaba, Blue, Kalu was talking about northern Nigeria is honored with crushing. What did they call that one again? Land crushing or anyway. Now this was Kalu addressing the assembly, but he wasn't addressing an assembly that looks like this. Kalu was addressing these people. Now, it's not actually about mocking or anything. Now, this is reality, okay? So what does it tell you? Somebody where then did press conference in Nigeria that was going to meet all the world leaders. See the world leaders, so. The people is addressing the greatest speech that some of these weirdos are trying to amplify in Nigeria right now. This is just a sign that nobody will have anything to really do with this guy in public. But it may not mean much to you right now, okay? Now them, they look for validation, Abi. Now your leaders, they look for validation. So before he left Nigeria with over 90 people, now they are in America. The business of them being in America was to meet with business moguls and all of them. So they announced in Nigeria, Kalu is going to meet the CEO of General Motors in America. Kalu is going to meet the CEO of Apple. Kalu is going to meet the World Bank this. Kalu is going to meet the world leaders. Who are the world leaders? Who do you think he was meeting? Like I said, this may not mean much to you, but they are the signs of exactly what the world sees you as, okay? Now, they can pay a lot of people because that's what they do, okay? That's why they have thousands of media aides who continually to glorify nonsense that adds no value, no single value to all of you. And I will never stop telling you. By the way, just for the record, okay, we are going to start from that New York before we go to the Chicago courts, where they have now ordered the Chicago State University to release every record of Miss Bola Tinubu. So a lot of people who have been asking whether Thiefnubu na transgender, Thiefnubu na change of whatever. Some are saying that he forged, he used, he stole somebody's identity. And so many names, so many things, right? All of that answer should start coming out from next week. From tomorrow. But we are going there. We'll go to United Nations first. Sorry if it's boring. He's reading it. So don't worry, just listen, okay?
To take the floor.
Mr. President, Head of State and Government, Secretary General, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the people of Nigeria, I congratulate you on your well-deserved election as the president of this session of the United Nations General Assembly. We commend your predecessor, His Excellency Chaba Korochi, for his able stewardship of the Assembly also. We also commend His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, for his work seeking to forge solutions to humanity's common challenges. This is my first address before the General Assembly. Permit me to say a few words on behalf of Nigeria, my country, on behalf of Africa, my continent, regarding this year's theme. Many proclamations have been made, yet our troubles remain close at hand. Failures in good governance have hindered Africa, but broken promises, unfair treatment, and outright exploitation from abroad have also exerted a heavy toll on our ability to progress. Given this long history, if this year's theme is to mean anything at all, it must mean something special and particular to Africa. In the aftermath of the Second World War, nations gathered in an attempt to rebuild their war-torn societies. A new global system was born. And this great body, the United Nations, was established as a symbol and protector of the aspiration and the finest ideas of humankind. Nations saw that it was in their own interest to help others exceed the rubbles and wasteland of war. Reliable and significant assistance allowed countries emaciated by war to grow into a strong and productive society. The period was a high watermark for trust in global institutions and the belief that humanity had learned the necessary lessons to move forward in global solidarity and harmony. Today, for several decades, Africa has been asking for the same level of political commitment and devotion of resource that described the Marshall Plan. We realize that underlying conditions and causes of economic challenges facing today's Africa are significantly different from those of post-war Europe. We are not asking for identical programs and actions. What we seek is an equal, firm commitment to partnership. We seek enhanced international cooperation with African nations to achieve the 2030 Agenda and Sustainable Development Goals. There are 5 points I want to highlight. First, if this year's theme is to have any importance at all and any impact, global institutions, other nations, and their private sector actors must see Africa as a development priority, not just for Africa, but in the interest of us all as well. Due to both long-standing internal and external factors, Nigerians and Africans' economic structures have been skewed to impede development, industrial expansion, job creation, and the equitable distribution of wealth. If Nigeria is to fulfill its duty to its people, I know, and the rest of Africa, we must create jobs and the belief in a better future for our people. We are pushing for that. We must also lead by example, and we are doing so, to foster economic growth and investors' confidence in Nigeria. I removed the costly and corrupt fuel subsidy while also discarding a noxious exchange rate system in my first few days in office. Other growth and job-oriented firms are in the wings. I'm mindful of the transient hardship that reform can cause. However, it is necessary to go through this phase in order to establish a foundation for durable growth and investment to build the economy our people deserve. We welcome partnerships with those who not mind seeing Nigeria and Africa assume larger roles in the global community. The question is not whether Nigeria is open for business. The question is how much of the world is truly open to doing business with Nigeria, and how African is an equal, mutually beneficial manner. Direct investment in critical industries, opening airports to a wider range and larger quantity of African exports, and meaningful debt relief are important aspects of the cooperation we seek. Second, we must affirm democratic governance as the best guarantor of sovereign will and well-being of the people. Military coups are wrong, as in any titled civilian political arrangement that is, will perpetuate injustice. The wave-crossing part of Africa does not demonstrate favor towards coup. It is a demand for solution to perennial problem. Let us dig it deeper. Regarding Niger, we are negotiating with the military leaders. As chairman of ECOWAS, I seek to help establish democratic governance in a manner that addresses the political economy challenges confronting that nation, including violent extremists who seek to foment instability in our region. I extend a hand of friendship to all of you who may genuinely support this mission for a democratic governance in that nation. This brings me to my third crucial point. Our entire region is locked in protracted battle against violent extremists.
I know a lot of you who muted it, Abi. I told you, since this is Mayegun's diary, right? It's like a diary. Let it be on record that he said it. He said this, he said that, even though it's kind of a written, just words. All those things are just words. But let's kind of pick one or two of them. He was talking about democratic institutions, this or that. That's a man that rigged an election in Nigeria. All right? Rigged an election to destroy democratic institutions by compromising all of the democratic institutions that could have prevented a drug bagman like him from being president of Nigeria. He did that. Then he's talking about promoting democracy. Then he's talking about Niger. Like, you know, Niger and the people of Niger, he's talking about democracy too. Same call. Then he's also talking about debt forgiveness for Africa. That was one of the tricks that Boko Haram and gang, right, believed would be deployed, even if they acted there recklessly, okay, and ruined Nigeria economy like sad way you have seen it all. But they believe that maybe whoever comes after them can start going about and start begging people for forgiveness, debt forgiveness. But they are not going to get any debt forgiveness. You can write that down as well. They're not going to get it. Right? I mean, not this way. So Kolu is pretentiously asking the world to please forgive Africa's debt so that maybe one of these days they can work something out and say they have cancelled Nigeria debts and maybe help the Naira. Abi? Let's go further to that part where he's talking about violent groups taking over the region. I promise you, this is not going to be too long. Watch this.
At the same time, mercenaries and extremists with their lethal weapons and vile ideologies invade our region from the north. This harmful traffic undermines the peace and stability of the entire region. African nation will improve our economics so that our people do not risk their life to sweep the floors and streets of other nations. We also shall devote ourselves to disbanding extremist groups on our turf. Yet, to fully contain this threat, the international community must strengthen its commitment to arrest the flow of arms and violent people into West Africa. The fourth important aspect of this global trust and solidarity is to secure the continent's mineral-rich areas from plundering and conflicts. Many such areas have become catacombs of misery and exploitation. The Democratic Republic of Congo has suffered this for decades. Despite the strong UN presence there, what happened? The world economy owes the Republic of Congo much but gives her very little. The mayhem visited on resource-rich areas does not respect national boundaries. Sudan, Mali, Burkina Faso, Central African Republic, and the list grow on and on and on. The problem also knocks at Nigeria's door. Foreign entities are baited by local criminals who aspire to be petty warlords have drafted thousands of people into servitude to illegally mine gold and other resources. Billions of dollars meant to improve the nation's economy now fuel violent enterprises. If left unchecked, they will threaten peace and place national security at a grave danger. Given the extent of this injustice and the high scales involved, many Africans are asking whether the phenomenon is by accident or by design. Members' nations must reply by working with us to deter their farms and nationals from the 21st century pillage of continent riches. Fifth, climate change severely impacts Nigeria and Africa. Northern Nigeria is honored by desert encroachment, hounded from the north. All are arable lands. Our south is pounded by the rising tide of coastal flooding and erosion. In the middle, the rainy season brings flood that kill and displace multitudes. As I lament death at home, I also lament the grave loss of life in Morocco and Libya. The Nigerian people are with you. Please note that. African nations will fight climate change, but must do so on fair and just terms. To achieve the need popular consensus, this campaign must accord with overall economic efforts. In Nigeria, we shall build political consensus by highlighting remedial actions which also promote economic good. Projects such as Green Wall to stop desert encroachment, halting the destruction of our forests by mass production and distribution of gas-burning stoves, and providing employment in local water management and irrigation projects are examples of efforts that equally advance both economic climate change objectives. Continental efforts regarding climate change will register important victories if established economies were more forthcoming with public and private sector investment for African preferred initiatives. Again, this will go.
We will work with you to build a Nigeria that is not corrupt. I bring you a message of hope. We are going to spend a lot of resources on education. We will work.
These were the people that Kalu was addressing. Thanks for, what do you call it? Thanks for the camera phone. They recorded what he said so that the rest of you can actually hear that here, even though you don't, probably, you're not proud, right? Now, let's stay in that America, okay? Because something happened there yesterday. You remember that Atiku's case, where Atiku is asking the court in America to ask the university that Thiefnubu listed as his own education qualification and document, that inside that document, Thiefnubu said he was born in 1954. Okay? That is the INEC form. The school certificate is submitted. Said he was born in 1952. So when they were digging more and more, they now discovered that, in fact, to find out who this Thiefnubu is, Atiku, using the work of David Undeyin, decided to approach the school that Thiefnubu submitted the data. Thiefnubu this time around didn't submit primary school, secondary school, just Chicago State University with a forged certificate. So when Atiku started digging, they now discovered that it is true. Tinubu attended Richard Daly College. Then from there to Chicago State University. So all the details show that one female American, Bola A. Tinubu, attended these schools. That is even more than falsification of age or whatever, which is perjury in Nigeria. The Chicago State University now said, we can't give you this information except Thiefnubu approves it. What did Thiefnubu do? He hired lawyers to stop the university from giving Atiku the details, so that then make it more suspicious. Like, what are you hiding? So that became a real thing. Not even for those who want to be sure, who are shocked when they saw the manuscript of Bola Tinubu, female, American. This one will be American, or a lie that he is not an American, but he is. So all of these lies were what they want to unravel. And Thiefnubu hired lawyers to stop them from making those public. And like I said, it now attracted a lot of people. When David exposed this crime of Thiefnubu for forgery and perjury, he wanted to establish that he has committed a crime, right, against the Constitution of Nigeria, which should see him sent to jail. But the likes of Atiku and the rest of them, it wasn't useful for them at the time. It was like it's a smear, it is a defamation or whatever. So they didn't show interest until they discovered the pile of documents, information that David was able to lay his hands on and release to all of us, just like that. So Atiku now hired lawyers, investigators, to help dig out more, so that he could use that at the court, Supreme Court in Nigeria. So back and forth, yeah. The judge who was kind of listening to the case was surprised that the documents they presented to him, okay, purportedly from the same university, that he himself could tell this is fake. This is, I mean, he couldn't tell which is fake, but he could tell that they were not the same. And in that state of shock, that justice now said, are we talking about the same person? They say, yeah, now the same person, oh. And the same person, they bear all these things, oh. So now, if Thiefnubu bought Coca-Cola, whether na boy or girl bought the Coca-Cola, everything that has Tinubu on it, receipts or anything and everything, would have to be turned over to Atiku. So Atiku would have to look into whatever he wanted or is looking for and take to Supreme Court. Part of what the APC, Egbekegbe, are currently telling themselves is that the school, the Chicago State University, cannot release what they don't have. So that what the judge said was that Chicago State University should release every document that is in their possession. So if they say this one is not in our possession, that one we don't have that, we don't have this. So the same Chicago State University that has been dragged in this scandal for a while, who we felt like have been accomplice in some of these Oluwole universities and schools and colleges abroad, that some of these politicians always go to buy whatever they want to buy, they are fitting into Nigerian narrative because nobody would investigate. And if you have to, they just didn't expect it to bring out this much attention. So according to APC, there is nothing to celebrate. Because according to the judgment is that the Chicago University should release since Atiku did not list what he is looking for. Do you see how law works sometimes, They say since Atiku did not say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 pieces of this or 200 pieces of this evidence is what I want them to release, So the university can come out and release the same information, the same document that we all have with the female Thiefnubu, Miss Bola Tinubu. And they will tell you, well, that's all we have. And that's the end of it. Solomon Grandi, born on Monday, named on Tuesday, and died on Sunday. Anyway, you shall get what I mean. So at the end of the day, it is probably not going to be useful. But me, I want to believe that even if Chicago State University will not release any real incriminating information or document about Thiefnubu, I would rather wait for that of 2,500 documents every month. That one go serve. They said they will be releasing, they'll be releasing 2,500 documents of Thiefnubu. So they will be releasing 500 every month, 500 this month, 500 next month. So the next 5 months from October, I believe, say, we shall go see something. And it is not because it's going to make any difference in Nigeria. Don't bank on it. So I'm not one of you. I know be one of you where they expect, say, something could change anything. No. You are already in this boat. Are you with me? You are already in this boat. Wherever it's taking you, it is not going to be resolved inside those courts, okay? It's not going to be resolved by protest. Peaceful protest. Let us protest for our right. Do you understand? You are already in it. So I am not one of those who are thinking that whatever they get in America, whatever this or that will make any difference in Nigeria to call you. No. But I want to be one of those that will tell my children who call you is genuinely an alien that a lot of people are wondering, who be this person? Who be this guy? Who be in mama? Who be in papa? When was he born? Where was he from? And the rest of all those unanswered there. So we may begin to kind of have something that we can now say, okay, facts for fact. My children, want to all of you sit down here. I want to tell you a story, and I'll tell them the story. You see, this one a thief, this one a drug dealer, this one a money launderer, this one a human trafficker, this one a ritualist, this one a this one a that. So that when my children see their faces, in case one of these days, they now put all the faces of these criminals on your currency, like they did to the past criminals, the ones they call your heroes past, so your criminals past, Abi. So one of these days, they will put all these criminals on the faces of your national this or that, your building, your books, and all of, they will write books about them to deceive the next generation that they mortgage their future. So when information like this are available, right, 100% to me, it's not because it's going to make any difference or change anything in Nigeria. Nigeria is done for. When everybody wakes together from their slumber, they will take it back or take it down, whatever it's going to be. But yeah, they have now given them 48 hours to release Thiefnubu's record from the Chicago State University. And my instinct is telling me that it is just going to be like a shit show. I'm not banking on any new information. I wish they could just show us who is Miss Bola Tinubu. If they could release the information of Miss Bola Tinubu, Bola Kafaru Tinubu, Adekunle Tinubu, or whatever. So that would mean we can put that in our own diary and say, well, my son, my daughter, Siamo, na criminal. Here you get. Don't ever, join those who praise their own oppressors. This one a criminal. Anyway, since Atiku was expecting what the update will be from the Chicago State University, is already approached the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Now, we are going to go to that Supreme Court of Nigeria, but there is a message. Call this a breaking message. Do you know that just like Bokwari decided to work with some African countries in a way that they shared a fake intel that declared Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a terrorist, and that anywhere they see him on the continent is only there to meet with other terrorists in those areas. And Kenya took the bait. And Nigeria, whatever deal Nigeria did with Kenya for them to commit that international crime, by abducting a British national. They abducted him, and without taking him to the front of any judge or what have you, like Kenya has no law. Let me tell you that story again. When Bokwari was going to sell the idea of Kenya kidnapping Nnamdi Kanu for them, they said Nnamdi Kanu is coming to Kenya to come and meet the El Shabaab. El Shabaab is like the Boko Haram of Kenya. Do you understand? Right? Meanwhile, it is a wrong intel that they were using to catch him and box him back to Nigeria and use him as a trophy. Kenya, for the sake of their own national security, right? They swoop on someone who entered your country legally, who actually went to your own general hospital, government hospital in Kenya for medical checkup. He wasn't hiding. He was meant to meet somebody at the same time, at the same, what's that guy's name? I wanted to say Keyamo. No, it's not Keyamo Airport. Uhuru Kenyatta or something airport. In Kenya, he was meeting with somebody in the open, in the public space, not terrorists, not nothing. And they swooped on him. He was gentle enough to say, well, you know what? I'll come with you. They took him, and for 3 days, they chained him to the ground. That is what Nnamdi Kanu told his lawyer, right? They chained him to the ground, and they were asking him questions about his meeting with El Shabaab. And it didn't take them long to know that, I mean, this guy has no business with any terrorists in this country. And they told him, they said, you know what? It was Nigeria that approached us. Nigeria said, you are coming here to come and plan terrorist attack. But we have discovered that after figuring out exactly who you are, we have discovered that it was a total wrong intel. Okay, fine. If it's a wrong intel, then let me go. I've not done anything wrong. No, we can't. We can't. Nigeria have already sent a private jet that's going to take you from here back to Nigeria. Really? Is that how you do it here? You are going to hand me over to people who lied to you just for you to, you know what I mean? They said, well, we are sorry. They told Nnamdi Kanu we were sorry. And they handed him over to Nigeria. Sedated him. That means they drugged him and they took him to Nigeria. Now, you may not be too surprised. Thiefnubu is about to do the same. And guess who is about to do that too? David Undenyi. For those who should know, since the NSAS days, David Undenyi happened to be one of those that the government of Nigeria have been looking for or finding ways to hold, but they've never made it too public. You know why? I'll show you something so that you understand where I'm actually going. Like I said, take this as the break-in this conversation tonight, okay? Give me a second. Now, Nigeria, David Undenyi is a current, is like a refugee who has been granted the West African kind of asylum. And this was granted to him by the government of Ghana. Now, Kalu, listen to this. So before, why was Nigeria looking for David Undenyi? And why? Like, why? I'll tell you if you want. Part of what David shared to remind all of us, in case we probably have forgotten, all right, that from his own, investigative journalism, over the years, in the course of the last 3-4 years, is managed to give us the following. Listen, I'm going to read this. So it said, Davido, I unmasked a federal cabinet minister who was an Al-Qaeda sympathizer on a U.S. anti-terror watch list. It's a pandemic. What happened? Nothing happened to pandemic. I unmasked the people behind Boko Haram and detailed their funding, infrastructure, and pipelines in granular detail. The conflicts for jihad. David Undenyi, what happened? They set after him. I revealed the existence of a cross-border human trafficking network in West Africa, which has operatives embedded in Nigeria's embassies and high commissions in countries like Cote d'Ivoire. He even put out the name and picture of Bello, the point man behind the trafficking, imprisonment, and murder of young Nigerian women in Abidjan. Nothing happened. They said after the police tried to botch the Ini Umoren, you remember Ini Umoren? Ini murder case. He was the one who jumped in and exposed the existence of a ritual murder syndicate operating in Akwa Ibom. An investigation that led to a death sentence for the murder suspects and sent the current Senate president into a panic. Akpabio, who actually threatened to sue him also David Undeyin. He even unmasked the overall head of the table portrayed in King of Boys before he ran for president and forced his way into office, talking about Thiefnubu. So at what point did Nigerians do anything with all this information? He published information that the table considered to be worth a whole lot of blood and money. And he put it out there for free. Not even Roberto Saviano went this far. According to him, and his book nearly brought down a government. Right? Now, David, as you are watching this video today, David has received the signal message from the government of Thiefnubu that Ghana should arrest him and send him back to them because he has caused so much damages to the reputation and legitimacy of Thiefnubu, Pablo Escobar, Midway. And David just dropped this clip. I haven't listened to it. I took a stop on X, Twitter, just my usual, and this popped up. Watch.
Ado, the Ghanaian Minister of the Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry, and to the chair of the Ghana Refugee Board, Prof. Kenneth Atafua. I fled Nigeria in 2020, and I applied for asylum in Ghana in early 2021. In May 2022, I was granted refugee status in Ghana. Consequently, I was also issued a Ghanaian refugee travel document, a refugee passport, which I have subsequently used extensively to travel across Africa and around the world. Now, last month, when there was the ongoing back and forth between those who wanted to go to war within the ECOWAS bloc, those who wanted to go to war with the coup regime in Niger, and those who didn't, something happened. The Nigerian president, Bola Tinubu, made a move to deploy Nigerian special forces illegally into Nigerian territory to enforce a no-fly zone, which is a euphemism for essentially staging a military attack, an unprovoked military attack against an independent sovereign nation and a friendly country to Nigeria. As was expected, most people in the Nigerian government, in the Nigerian military, and in the citizenry at large weren't at all on board with this. But Mr. Tinubu was clearly desperate to start this war with Niger, a war that nobody wanted. Subsequently, a secret document was leaked to me, a document which contained attack instructions and staging plans for this illegal invasion of Niger. And I knew that by putting this document out, I could potentially stop a catastrophic invasion, which would lead to an immense and unnecessary loss of West African life. So that's exactly what I did. Early August, I put out this document. And it had the desired effect. It did, in fact, stop the invasion. Subsequently, Mr. Tinubu then tried to seek permission from Nigeria's Senate to deploy the Nigerian military into Niger. The Senate knocked this back. And to all intents and purposes, the invasion essentially became a stillbirth, right? It didn't happen. Which, from the point of view of, I think, any right-thinking person in the ECOWAS sub-region, was definitely a good outcome, right? What definitely under no circumstances should have happened should have been a military invasion of Niger by Nigeria, leading to an outcome that no one would have been better off. Well, I could spend an hour explaining the many different ways that this would have been a terrible idea, but I'm sure most people know this just as well as I do. It would have been something that would have been catastrophic and would have benefited nobody except probably Mr. Tinubu himself. Now, after I leaked this document, I was made aware from several sources that the Nigerian military establishment and the Nigerian intelligence establishment became essentially particularly enraged with me. So I've been a person of interest for a long time, but with that I became designated as something of an enemy of state. And as my, as fortune or luck, bad luck would have it, just a month before this happened, the fact that I do travel with a Ghanaian passport, that I have a Ghanaian passport and I travel with it, had become exposed to the public through no fault of my own, following a very unfortunate event in Zimbabwe, after which the permanent secretary at the Zimbabwean Ministry of Information, probably thinking that he was scoring a point against some sort of foreign journalists, following their issues with foreign journalists, decided to tweet to a global audience the fact that I did claim asylum in Ghana and that I travel with a Ghanaian travel document. As a result of this, the Nigerian establishment knew who to speak to if they wanted to get a hold of me. They were aware that I had claimed asylum in Ghana and that I used a Ghanaian travel document. So I was informed that a Nigerian intelligence agency, I'm not sure whether it was the National Intelligence Agency or the Defense Intelligence Agency, but one of these foreign intelligence institutions dispatched a jet to Accra to basically have me illegally rendered to Nigeria. Apparently they wrote a letter to the Ghanaian government accusing me of apparently aiding terrorism by supposedly revealing the locations of soldiers, and apparently I was also guilty of treason, whatever that means. Now, it seemed as if the matter was going to end there. But more recently, I've come to find out that the Tinubu government is still trying very hard to enact some sort of illegal rendition. So the latest tactic apparently is to lean on the Ghanaian government and accuse me of having apparently sabotaged an ECOWAS mission, and in so doing, basically compromised the bloc security of the ECOWAS region, in which case Ghana, being itself an ECOWAS member, is then obligated to cancel my asylum, to revoke my refugee status, and to revoke my Ghanaian passport. The Nigerian government's hope is that in revoking my passport, whatever travel privileges or visa or residency privileges I enjoy anywhere in the world will be compromised, and as a result, it will then be more possible for them, using the various avenues that are available to obviously a nation state, to have somebody extradited or to have somebody illegally rendered. In this case, a journalist who fled the country because of his work and claimed political asylum in another country and gained full refugee status. But the Nigerian government obviously has no problem trying to flout international law in this way. Now, the reason I'm making this appeal publicly to the Ghanaian government and to the individuals I mentioned at the outset is because I'm aware that even though the Ghanaian government, as I mentioned, has a relatively great track record when it comes to obeying international law and not behaving obnoxiously in the international space, which was why I chose to claim asylum in Ghana in the first place, I'm also aware that there's a limit to which Ghana might be able to resist the cajoling or the bullying of Nigeria, which obviously exerts a lot of influence over the Ghanaian government. So I thought it would be prudent to put this out there. I know that the Nigerian government is trying to do all of this in secret, which is why I was only able to obtain this information, through a fashion, right? This isn't information that is out there, but I'm putting it out there on purpose, hoping that it makes some kind of a difference, because at the end of the day, I do believe that just the same way as, Ghana had every opportunity to give me up.
So every time they say they will soon catch you too, they will soon catch you too, is being a pain or a pain in their ass. But Nigeria is famous for, like you said, for flouting international laws. They want to kidnap him. But before they do, they wanted to make sure that they rendered every legal status he's currently enjoying, they rendered that null and void. Why? Because he told us about Pablo Escobar. He helped stop what could have been the war of refugees right now when they were asking Kolu to invade Niger Republic. And I said the memo that got released about the planned attack, when Kolu is here to even inform Nigerians he was going to go to Niger, he was already moving soldiers to Sokoto. That information saved the lives of Nigerian soldiers and saved the lives of Nigerians who share border with Niger Republic, and saved a lot of lives of Nigerians themselves. Now they are charging David secretly for treason. Just the same playbook, okay, that they used on Oloye Sunday Igboho, that they used on Mazi Nnamdi Kano, they are using it on David. They will use it on me if they have any chance to come closer. They will use it on you. They will use it on every person that they consider a threat. And they will have a lot of us to deal with. David, let's continue.
Today, I do believe that just the same way as, Ghana had every opportunity to give me up in the first place. When I claimed asylum in Ghana, there was every opportunity to use me as a diplomatic bargaining chip with Nigeria if it wanted to. But I know that Ghana is not that kind of country. I know that the Ghanaian government historically has a lot of respect for international law. The Ghanaian government historically has a very strong Pan-Africanist outlook. And the Ghanaian government generally tends to lend itself to being a safe haven for people who are fleeing political persecution from wherever they are in West Africa, in Africa, and in the world at large. There's a very good reason why even during my time in the safe house in Accra, there were quite a number of journalists and whistleblowers who were in similar situations, who were also spending time in Accra. They weren't even just from West Africa or even from Africa. There were people from Europe there as well. That's the kind of stellar reputation that Ghana has when it comes to being a safe haven and an oasis of stability in what is generally still a very unstable area. So I want to urge the Ghanaian president, President Nana Akufo-Addo, the Ghanaian Interior Minister, the chairman of the Ghana Refugee Board, the Ghanaian Immigration Services, all of whom are apparently being linked on by the Nigerian government, to consider not only obviously the fact that I have been obviously granted full refugee status in Ghana, and the Nigerian government is trying to make Ghana blood guilty, right? The Nigerian government is trying to get Ghana to break international law so as to find a way to have me return to Nigeria. And the entire purpose of having me return to Nigeria is to even a personal score, because the person who is apparently the president of Nigeria now, as I'm sure everyone is aware, has a personal bone to pick with me, because I am the journalist who is responsible for essentially destroying whatever false reputation he was trying to build in the international space. I am the journalist who revealed that Bola Tinubu is a drug trafficker and is a certificate forger, both of which are about to have a significant impact on his continued stay in office. This is an attempt to settle a grudge, using a sovereign country, which is Ghana, as a sort of blunt force tool to get at one individual. This is the exact kind of behavior that the Nigerian state was renowned for during the 80s and the 90s under the military era. And at that time, some of these very people who are in power now, including the supposed president in power right now, did actually find some sort of refuge, safe refuge and haven in Ghana, right? And I'm sure the Ghanaian intelligence agencies, the Ghanaian security services, the Ghanaian immigration services obviously have records of all of these. Ghana has a very a long and storied relationship with Nigeria in so many ways, you know, specifically when it comes to serving as a safe haven for people fleeing political persecution in Nigeria. Without the support and hospitality of Ghana and of the Ghanaian government, a lot of the work I've been able to accomplish over the past few years could never have been done. I might not even be alive. Right? The Ghanaian government has been nothing but honorable in its dealings. So I want to urge the Ghanaian president to resist the temptation to allow an illegitimate Nigerian president to push Ghana into breaking international law. I obviously don't need to mention that there's a law called the Law of Refoulement, which forbids the illegal repatriation of political refugees back to the country that they fled from, where they are going to face, you know, persecution. It's very well known that if for whatever reason I were to be returned to Nigeria, I would not survive it. This is not a secret. So I'm putting this appeal out there publicly. I wasn't going to do this initially, but seeing as it doesn't look like there are that many options left, and the fact of my use of a Ghanaian passport and my permanent residency in Ghana is going to be used, or is the Nigerian government is trying to weaponize that. And, you know, Ghana, for all its best efforts, for all its best intentions, might not be able to resist the bullying of the Nigerian government. I'm constrained to put this message out in the public domain, at the very least for record purposes. So if anything were to happen to me, I hope it doesn't happen, but if something were to happen to me, everyone should know who is responsible for it and under what circumstances these things happened. The Ghanaian government, as I said, has been nothing but good to me. The Ghanaian government has behaved excellently, historically and presently. I hope that continues. I hope it's able to resist the tactics of the Nigerian intelligence agencies, the NIA, the DIA, the DSS, which are parts of the erstwhile, the infamous NSO security organization, which used to carry out this exact sort of illegal international activity back in the 80s, because apparently that's the era that we've gone back to now. But in the event that it does, in the event that the Ghanaian government isn't able to hold Nigeria off, and my Ghanaian passport is revoked, my Ghanaian permanent residency is revoked, I'm also appealing to international institutions that may be watching this to lean on, whoever can be leaned on to see that this reaches some sort of resolution. And in the event that there is no resolution and I end up becoming a journalist who ends up dead because I did my job, well, I want everyone to know who was responsible. So that's why I'm putting out this appeal. I hope the Ghanaian government does the right thing. I have faith in them. They've always done the right thing more often than not. There are so many more people like myself who have found a safe refuge and a home in Ghana. I think it would be a very sad thing if that reputation that this country has built for itself should be damaged because of an illegitimate president in Nigeria who is essentially trying to personalize the apparatus of state and use it to pursue his personal vendetta around the world. So that's all I have to say this evening. Thank you for
man still there for jail. Politician wey dey prove don enter for power. EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey dey prove don enter for power. Ewo EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician way in the program enter for power. Yes, is the command. See them for jail. Politician way in the program enter for power. If you dey do government work, you no carry am for head, you. Maka one day I got bokwagi ke na ma own. In another government, yo, you wayo, one day more, every one day, I got forget to Mama, Ewo, yes, is the German, no there for jail.
The program enter for power. So when I saw that message, I couldn't just let go until another time. So they were working secretly to get a David Undeyi handcuffed and illegally repatriated or extradited to Nigeria. Just the same treatment they gave them as in Kano. And well, everybody know, everyone is aware now anyway. Okay. And in fact, it's done so well for putting it out. Okay. So whatever trick, whatever pressure, whatever thing they want to pull, everybody is interested or is aware now. So when somebody said that we should call the Ghanaian government out, there's no point in calling anybody out. David has dropped the info here. Sure, you understand? All of us knows, right, why this is happening, and including those who are hoping that they should carry it through, they should see it through, and then they kidnap him or whatever they want to do. But for now, everyone is, all eyes are now on Ghana and Nigeria. So you would arrest a journalist for doing his job. You have a chance of suing or whatever, right? But you want to use the state apparatus to kind of hunt them down, put them in jail. In a democracy, how should you are? Now, that's so heartbreaking, by the way. And a lot of people are suggesting that it should leave Ghana immediately. I support that. So, David, if you happen to see this video, I know a lot of people are probably, with all your contacts, your sources, and the rest, I believe you are already 2-3 steps ahead of them. I want to believe. And then, this information you just put out right now, you have set them back like about 10 steps backward now. They will need to go and re-strategize and find another way of getting at you. So the ideal thing is to get out of that place now, right away. And wherever you are going, right? As you should know, right? You are a journalist and you will get any political asylum from anywhere, especially someone of your caliber. Do not wait for them. Do not let them make you somebody that will have to start raising hashtag for. These people are brutal. These people are evil. They are evil. And Baba, I don't think we would love to lose you to them at all. So I believe you are probably, like I said, 2-3 steps ahead of them before you notify all of us now. You need to leave Ghana. You need to leave Africa. Everywhere. Some people are saying that you should go to Burkina Faso. You should don't go anywhere in Africa. If you are going to, hop on any plane to anywhere, let it be out of Africa totally. And don't wait for them to actually get to you. Don't wait for Ghana, okay, to either crumble under their pressure or not. Just leave straight away and avoid the French-speaking countries, by the way, because currently France is hurting and is trying to ask the rest of Europe to hurt with her. I'm talking about France. So leave. Meanwhile, I wanted to share with you the petition appeal of Atiku. That will just be part of this chat before we go to Kano. Allah is about to share. Tribunal has removed Kwakwan Sob's governor, and they have put in Gandola's governor, even though they still have to go and appeal that judgment or whatsoever. So we're going to go to Ghana, but let's stop by at the Supreme Court of Nigeria, where Atiku is now appealing Thiefnubu's victory at the tribunal on the 35 ground. before they will use petition and prayers. This one is 35 ground. Why the Court of Appeal, the tribunal, was wrong to to reject all the evidence against Kolu and the what do you call it? The Supreme Court now have 60 days, less than 60 days, let's say 50 days now, to give a judgment on Atiku versus Thiefnubu and see if they are going to use any of his evidence, new one or old one, it doesn't matter. So all the evidence that the tribunal rejected and decided that there were no evidence and all that stuff, Atiku is pointing out those errors in those their rulings. And he want the Supreme Court to remove Kolu, okay, and conduct a fresh election. And none like that. 35 ground of appeal against the tribunal judgment. This one is for Atiku. I know you are not reading. I'm just scrolling. You see, I'm just scrolling it up and up and up. You're not going to sit down there and start reading it, Abi. Just go on Google and type in Abubakar Atiku's appeal to Supreme Court. You will see this copy. You can download it if you are the type who love to download, okay? That's it. Right? Now, if we go a bit, let's go a bit further and show that of Peter Obi. On Peter Obi's own appeal to the Supreme Court, Peter Obi is appealing on 50 ground of appeal, pushing out there the error of rejection and all of that stuff, the same thing that the tribunal refused to look into the evidence presented simply by disqualifying them and saying, you know what I mean, like they didn't submit them at the right time. So Peter Obi and his own people, they are appealing on 50 ground of error. And Peter Obi this time around is asking the courts, the Supreme Court, to declare him the winner if they can look at all the evidence he's presenting and where the appeal court was wrong. So Peter Obi in this own appeal did not just show that he won, he also added the number. He said he scored 8.7 million votes. Thiefnubu and Atiku. Thiefnubu came third. Atiku came second. But by the virtue of the fact that he met the constitutional requirement of 25% in Abuja or winning Abuja and all that, he should be declared winner. That's the difference from what his petition was at the appeal. So on this 50 ground of appeal, the Supreme Court of Nigeria would need to give their judgment on these two appeals in the next 50 days. So if you have to kind of look at it as it should be, 50 days from now should be what? That should be somewhere around the end of November, Abi, or middle of November. The Supreme Court will rule. And that will then have to be to appeal or what have you. Everybody will need to then go to the Court of Almighty God for judgment after this. So, that said, in Kano, Wahala is about to happen. As they announced, just before they announced that the tribunal was going to give the judgment between the current NNPP governor of Kwakwanso or APC governor of Gandola, candidate of Gandola. So there were allegations where the judge the lead judge at the tribunal came out and said they offered her $10 million to give the judgment in favor of APC. She didn't mention names, but she did a press conference to say that. And just before she did that press conference, there were already rumor reports of bribery of the tribunal, just like normal, yeah? So all of these have kind of prepared the people of Kano, the supporters of these two groups, for a day. In fact, one of their commissioner had to warn the tribunal that if they give any judgment that is contrary to the real thing, that they will lose their life, they will burn them and kill them inside that courtroom. They're not going to come out alive. And for those of you who probably should know about Kano, now dear Gogo, you go know, say this ones understand politics. If to say it was Kano, if Kano was a country, and Yakubu was their own Kano Independent Electoral Commission, Kieki, and Yakubu started announcing fake results, Kano is a place where millions of people can troop out and end that nonsense, like you will see in some other African countries protesting against fraudulent elections, not in Nigeria. If Kano was a country, they always have time and that number. There are many, there are plenty. The tribunal then announced that they were going to give their ruling today, the 20th of September. Immediately they released that statement, and a commissioner already promised that they will burn them inside the courthouse if they give any judgment that is contrary. And the commissioner was sacked, by the way. So today, the judgment came. And when the judgment came, the NNPP Kwakwanso people, they got serious bruises. Remember the allegation of bribery and all of that initially? But before the judgment came, everybody was coming, all the police, everybody everywhere, security, all of that. Now, so the judges of the tribunal developed a cold feet. They said, no, we know they call that place. So we have started seeing their videos. There's no way police can control them. If these guys should go mad on us, we know they come. We are not coming. So how are you going to deliver your judgment? Tell all of them, make them go sit down inside that court. We did inside the living room of one of our members. We go deliver the judgment through this Zoom. Now Zoom then deliver the judgment in Kano to avoid the story that touch. I can't show you. There's which one is Justice Okoro, which one is Justice Abubakar, which one is male, which one is female, because they don't bond them anyway. Which one be judge? They say, we don't know. Just put name on them like that. What if the one you put Abdullahi on is actually Justice Johnson? You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. We know one story that touched the hearts. We will send them the message from Zoom. And that's exactly how they deliver the message, for security reason. And when they deliver the message, in all honesty, according to them, they said, 160,000 ballot papers used in voting for NNPP. They were not signed, even though the votes were for NNPP, but they were not signed. So they would have ordered a rerun, but that's a waste of time. Let's count the original votes, the ones signed, but they signed the APC ballot paper, so APC won. INEC, we no sign paper. INEC that conducted the election that didn't sign ballot paper, they were there in the same court. Not in the court anyway. They were on the Zoom to send a message to the NNPP, Kano. They did not sign your ballot paper. It's illegal. It's void. So initially, people thought they were going to cancel elections in those places that they didn't sign the ballot papers. So some people were already announcing, tribunal declare Iran. Iran. Pack your bag and leave. I mean, you know, Kwakwanso happened to be one of these overrated political criminals from Nigeria. He's so overrated. He even overrated himself. Baba, this guy won't be vice president. They said maybe they will make a minister. Minister, he no get. Personal advisor, he no get. About the single state where he still manage win, they won't collect them for in hand. Like, he's actually a real loser, by the way, overrated crook, you know, put it that way, overrated crook. I'm just saying, like, so it is their politics, so it defies all logic. I agree. I'm just saying, he's so overrated. We'll go to that Kano. How Kano people behaved or were behaving. Let us first start from Gandola. This was Gandola, I believe.
Amin. Amin Baba. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Allah mun gode maka. Allahu Akbar. Congratulations, Baba. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Congratulations, Baba. Congratulations, Baba. Alhamdulillah. Congratulations, Baba.
It's like that was when he won his own second time. That was not today. That one is not today. Because I'll show you the two of them. See, the one on the left, that one was Gandola's candidate. The one on the right is Kwakwansop candidate. Do you understand? And their politics in Kano. These guys used to be in the same camp. Do you understand now? They used to be together. First, they were together in PDP. Then Kwakwansop and the rest of them left PDP. Because Gandola was his deputy when Kwakwansop was governor. Sure you get. So when Kwakwansop followed them to go and start APC, and Gandola followed him, now from there, trailer entered them. So Gandola succeeded Kwakwansop, and Kwakwansop as a godfather, here you get now, was more or less like overbearing. So the one on the left is for Gandola. The one on the right is for Kwakwansop. And the two of them were those in court. And after the hearing, one of them said this, not one of those two. That's this was an APC lawyer. The APC lawyer, listen to him. Remember, they all listened to the judgment on Zoom. It's like everybody was watching the news. Okay, the lawyer, all this, only everybody, because the judges were not there. And afterward,
returning officer, the declaration by the returning officer was wrongly made. We filed this petition to show that, and clearly we have demonstrated it by bringing in invalid ballot papers, 165,000 of the ballot papers, and the court went through these ballot papers one after the other and confirmed that these ballot papers were not signed, stamped, and dated. And the law says it shall be signed, stamped, and dated. So all these three must be there. Not two, not one. All the three must be there. And the court, of course, accordingly deducted these invalid votes from the votes of NNPP. After doing that, Nasri Yusuf Gawuna was declared the winner of the election. So, returning officer.
Gawuna, that's the name. But the people who are with the current governor, this is their own position.
What can you say about the judgment? Actually, the judgment has just come out. Now, as you can see, we are just coming out from the court. And what court has just said, we accepted it. We have even highlighted our people yesterday that there is sign of injustice that is taking place in this court. Prior to what has happened, we inform our people that injustice may likely take place in this court. And we are appealing to our team supporters and the populace of Kano State that we are not taking it for granted. We didn't accept the judgment. We are appealing. Definitely, appeal will judge it better than this court.
Now, what the next can you say about the judgment?
They are going to appeal it. Of course, they have the right to appeal. And I think even up to the Supreme Court, I think Ogandola, the Babanriga Mobile Banking CEO, and is now the chairman of APC, Egbekegbe, long ago, on the street of Kano. This is pretty much like
Rushe-rushe da aka yi wa jama'a da komai da aka yi wa jama'a yau Gawuna shi ne gwamnan jihar Kano. Gawuna ya zo, Gawuna ya zo, Gawuna ya zo. Dauke ni na su dana.
see them. Or that's roasting, boiling road. You see, they thank God for people who go come loot them. Nigerians. On the other part of the street, here. For people that will still come and loot them, steal from them, oppress them, even kill them, destroy their businesses for their own selfish gains. For 4 years, for 8 years, they will weep and cry and scream. Why do you do this to us? We loved you, but look at what you are doing. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. How do I say this that it's going to sound like that time that Kalu told you that subsidy is gone? I've been practicing it. Okay, I'm just going to do it my way. Subsidy is back. Subsidy is back. It never left. But Kalu told you subsidy was gone. And he even told you they've saved over 2 trillion from subsidy. Ha! Would you mean that? Subsidy is barrier. Subsidy is back. And the dollar subsidy that I've been telling you about, that dollar don't finish you. NNPLC, a private oil company in Nigeria, is collecting the Nigeria crude oil royalty. And Nigerians are still there. They have no clue of what is going on. They told you Nigeria is selling 1.1 million crude oil per day, just to cover up the lies. Just to cover up the continued scheme of crude oil. What do you call those one? Those who are stealing the crude oil in Nigeria. The business is still very much thriving. They are still stealing your crude oil in large vessels. So these criminals told you that Nigerian crude produce, Nigeria crude production every day has now increased from 800,000 to to 1.1 million. Okay, where is the money? If you are pumping crude oil, 1.1 million crude oil every day, Baba, now how much that go be for a month? It's been 3 months now. Guess how much NNPLC collected on behalf of Nigeria? Do you know how much? $301 million. That's how much they collected, though. In the last 3 months, they said that's how much oil they sold, yo. 300 million. For a country of 200 million people. Baba, even the 300 million, now here, people they hear them, they know they see them. Because NNPC said they have used the money to pay for subsidy. Which money? The 300 million, not everything. But we have paid subsidy of over $240 million. To who? Who paid the money? Did Thiefnubu know? Did you not hear when Thiefnubu said subsidy is gone? Who had the audacity to use Nigeria money from crude oil to pay subsidy? Now, let me tell you this. Just in case if you probably have if you are suffering from Stockholm syndrome, I quickly remind you. I will continue to remind you. By the way, I actually said I'm going to tell you that story of Stockholm syndrome. They say now Stockholm for Sweden. They say for Stockholm, right? You know a country called, you know a place called Stockholm, right? The city. So one guy kidnapped some women and he held them as hostage for days. While they were negotiating their release, the people discovered that the hostages, they started developing feelings for their captor. They forgot that they were hostages and the guy was actually holding them. They have forgotten. They started developing feeling for him. They started having warmth approach towards him and the Stockholm syndrome. So, that is something that people just get used to their own oppressors. You understand? But I'll give you this a little bit of a background. You see, these criminals in 2015, they said subsidy was a scam and it must go. And they needed to save money and stop paying people. In fact, they also promised that they were going to release the names of those who are behind the subsidy scam. And that was supposed to be fine. Abi? But you know what happened after? Nigeria started losing money to those who were stealing Nigeria crude oil. 700,000 barrels of crude oil stolen every day. Millions, 21 million barrels of crude oil stolen every month. So massive. So Nigeria was losing money. Do you know what these criminals did? The little peanut or whatever that was going to come from that, what they left after they stole the most, right? These guys opened another avenue. And they started using Nigeria money, royalty from crude oil sale. As they paid them the money, they paid the money to themselves. And suddenly, the Nigeria money from crude oil was now being used to pay for subsidy. As they pay Nigeria, NNPLC, they give it to themselves. They call Emefiole, go and print money and share the money to the states. Because you see this dollar, we don't use it and pay for subsidy. And just like that, subsidy of Nigeria jumped from 200 billion naira a year to over 4 trillion naira, 4 trillion naira a year. And the cost of the same liter of fuel jumped from 87 naira to over 600 naira per liter. Who is being paid the subsidy? What is their names? Give us all of, no, they won't because they are paying it to themselves. Then Kalu came and said, subsidy was gone. And it thrown your lives into this, and it took on Lomo. When they say, Emi lokan, And after just 2-3 weeks, people who are shouting Emilokon, they started shouting Enikon Lomo. Emilokon means it's our turn. In 3 months after all of that, they are not saying Awalokon anymore. They are now saying, my brother, he get us to be na person where this Thiefnubu Nigeria affect. Go explain to you where the thing they affect him. Because as it be now everybody they collect. Even people will no shout Emilokon Awalokon. It's so similar to the time when they are shouting Sai Baba by the Sai barbarians. Remember the Sai barbarians? They were shouting Sai Baba. When the Shege started, from chain, to what do you call it? They call that one next devil, the next devil. When the bedu of the suffering enter them, Baba, people where they shout Kai Baba, I'm sorry, Sai Baba. It didn't take long before they started shouting Kai Baba. Kai Baba is like a Kai Baba. You know? It's similar to those who are shouting Emilokon. Now shouting Baba Enekon Lomo Lowo you. I remember that very well. Just a few months ago. Àwa ló kàn, ẹ̀yin ló kàn, èmi ló kàn, gbogbo wa ló kàn. And 2-3 weeks after, àwọn ló kàn, ẹ̀yin ló kàn, gbogbo wọn ló kàn. Everybody they shout, Baba Enekon Lomo Lowo you, any bad Lomo Baba. Baba, it's tough. Nigeria is easy, Baba. I'm tell you, no easy, Baba. Enekon Lomo Lowo you. I say, yeah. It wasn't my yegun. We can know me. Are you showing doubt to me? And any con lomo lower about you that person where the thing touch, know where the thing they touch arm. Now person where they wear the shoe, they know where the shoe they pinch arm. You know that all of that, right? Okay. So now the news is that without telling any one of you, they said NNPC collected 300 million, used 265 million, I be 255 million. They used that to pay for subsidy. To who? Okay, what happened to the remaining 55 million? Which 55 million? Alayesho monkey ni. You said you collected 300 million and you used 245 million for subsidy. We are coming back to that one. That one we're coming back. But there is a balance now. There's still another 55 million or 59 million dollars left. Which 55? No. There's no 55. Show mad in like you the wine us in if you committed 245 million out of $304 million, you're supposed to get like 59 million. Oh, we don't use that one. You use Nigeria money. Everybody they use them, they go. Because you have a country of 200 million mumuzabi. If not, majority of those who are supposed to be in jail, they are those you are calling your leaders, who you think are planning for your future. Any future, there's no future anywhere. When you use your vivid imagination, when you finish with your vivid imagination, you'll come back to reality. Eje. Go, Eje. So now the dollar don't finish. There is no dollar for Nigeria, and for the business people who are demanding for dollar, even the oil marketers and the rest of them. What kind of a country is this? A whole country. What kind of people are these people? There are some things that doesn't actually make any sense, but you just look at them and be like, well, it is Nigeria. You know, what are you going to do about it? A whole country, no nothing. Now, the dollar is actually like jumping right now. So naira to dollar right now is currently almost 1,000 naira to a dollar. That was what they tried to prevent about a month ago. They collected $3 billion. I told you, when they finished that $3 billion, this cankerworm, these thieves, $3 billion is a peanut change. You want to use $3 billion to stabilize Nigeria naira. No investment in this, your own main economy. There is no real investment in generating electricity, and you are telling the world to come and invest in the darkness. Do you think that's how it works? Come and invest in the darkness. Come and invest in our this or that. There are opportunities. So come and build this for us. You want to able to come and build infrastructure that they will now say, oh, it is meant to serve. It's like charity, and then you say, well, you know what? We'll pay you back later. I don't understand. Like, would they have to come and build your electricity from the scratch? Now that your electricity are collapsing like epileptic, where they say epileptic power supply, Dakudaji. Under Bokuwari in 8 years, Nigeria national grid collapsed. This may shock you, and don't let it shock you. You can Google it. 120 times. Country that is aspiring to be great, Abi. National electricity collapsed over 100 times in 8 years. The first time it collapsed, it was 30 years before Bokuwari came. 1985, that was the last time that Nigeria national grid first collapsed, and last time it collapsed. APC, Egbekegbe, came in 2015. National grid of Nigeria collapsed about 4 times. At a point, it was like collapsing almost every hour. That people became like, you know what? Who they used electricity before? So they are lying to you, deceiving you. And then they said they are doing something called unification of exchange rates. Unification of exchange rates in Nigeria that will then keep the dollars. They should said all those nonsense they used to say. And me, Mayegun, we no get PhD in all your jargons that you are telling yourselves. Now, ordinary Mayegun came here to tell all those economists that, look at this one. So this one are job men, criminals. Check their books and you see all of the cooked fake figures that they are putting there, because the economy doesn't reflect in the lives of their people. They will tell you the stock exchange has grown. So a stock exchange made a gain of 60,000 gain today. Nigeria stock exchange will get nonsense in Igbo. It's all fixed still. Because any economy that doesn't reflect in the real life of the people, one ton, now they are now saying that next week, Thiefnubu is going to announce a new minimum wage. That's good news, right? The current minimum wage in Nigeria, how much is 10 pounds? 10 pounds is 12,000 naira. 20 pounds is 24,000 naira. 22 pounds or 23 pounds is 30,000 naira. So that means the minimum wage in Nigeria is just about 25 pounds. You work for 1 month, you collect 25 pounds in the poverty capital of the world. So they are coming back to increase it, maybe to 50 pounds, $60,000. How does $60,000 minimum wage sound to you? They're not going to pay you. No, they're not going to pay you. They're not going to pay you the salary, but they go announce them. Are you with me? You know, most of them have already added 10,000 naira to your salaries. Now, those of you who get job, I'm not talking to those who no get job. You who no get job, you wait. They go recruit all of you into the army. Your own job, I don't know how much they will pay you, but if they start with minimum wage, it may be 50 pounds, $60. I mean, so 60,000 naira. So they are working around something now. Their colleague is going to come and announce a new minimum wage. And there's difference between minimum wage and living wage. How do you actually expect to survive in an economy with over 800% inflation? Benny, there's nothing like a 23% inflation. Short then, if you buy a bag of rice for 7,500 naira, and you are buying it for 60, I'm buying it now for 60,000 naira. She 20% increase in here. I'll be 1,000%. Go like 2,000. Got inflation. Don't put any hyperinflation. We'll see how that goes. Well, yeah, you're gonna get that good news. Next week, minimum wage 60,000 naira, 50,000 naira. They no go pay you. Kogi no go pay. More than 30 states in Nigeria no go pay. They no go pay you, but at least they go hold you. All right. And by the time they give you that minimum wage, $1 to a naira, I mean, naira to the dollar would have become like 1,100 naira to $1. So collect your 60,000 naira, branch for one booker, chop, enter taxi, go home, hand over the remaining 10,000 naira to your wife. Because by then you will see the worthless paper. That even I'm saying that it's going to be 50 pounds, Abi. Maybe at the end of the day, by the time the worthless naira gets further devalued, and nobody is giving Nigeria any debt forgiveness, these criminals are not going to really invest in the real economy of Nigeria. They are going to call their friends here and there, okay? Which is all going to be like a cash out time for them as well. Their own their own way of lifting you out of poverty is going to be to share to you 10,000 naira. Just like if Bokwari was sharing 5,000 naira. That is their own way of lifting you out of poverty. The rest is just for show off. Like, you know, we describe the last time under Bokwari, you go see Shege, where they waka for streets. But that time, when Shege they waka, when you they waka like this, you go see Shege they waka along with you. But if you look at it, it go be like say nothing they there. It's like the shadow of Shege. Surety Shege Pro Maxi, you go to get hug, you go to get consolation. When the Shege hits you, Baba, now the Shege go give you in shoulder for you to cry on. You go see it face to face. You go talk to it and say, you, my Shege, when are you going to leave thou? When are you going to leave thee from the grip of thou? You go to have chat with your own Shege. I'm not wishing it on you. I'm only wishing you what you wish yourselves, okay? This is going to be your reality soon. There is no rocket science. There is no abracadabra about it. Look at these guys. You can't rule a country by telling lies, propaganda. It will catch up on you. You don't turn around and say, why is it not working? When you can see the reason why it will never work. I have seen these guys. Unification of Naira, unification of exchange rate. What is unification when the main source of your own forex is in the hands of criminals? Criminals are in charge of Nigerian oil sector. Every revenue that should have popped out from there, forex that should help Nigeria to rebound back, is in the pocket of some criminal few. They had the audacity to use Nigeria name to borrow $3 billion that they will give them oil swap. And Nigerians have no clue of what that is all about. Cash of $3 billion was handed over to these criminals. They've spent it. Now they can't stabilize Naira. Who's going to give them another one? Nigeria crude oil money. Patrick Peanut, largest producer of crude oil in Africa, is making $300 million from crude oil. Person where they sell $1.1 million per, person where they produce 1.1 million barrel every day. In 3 months, made $300 million. And you are sitting down there, you think you are smart, trying to push it back and say, try to wish your country well. Does these people who actually wish Nigeria well? Do you think they wish Nigeria well? Have you actually thought about that? That a country, giant of Africa, the biggest oil producer in Africa, second or third largest oil producer in the world, okay, maybe seventh oil producer, largest oil producer in the world, sold crude oil for 3 months under these criminals, and the total money they made is less than $300 million. And you think you are not mad? You are wishing Nigeria well. How? Even the 300 million, they shared it among themselves. Nobody's going to be held responsible. I mean, I have been here many times where I've actually told you where NNPC of Nigeria failed to actually remit money. The money made from the crude oil sale in Nigeria, they failed to remit them. And it was like normal. So a better country will just come by you wishing for it. These criminals don't wish Nigeria well. Their actions don't wish Nigeria well. Now, they collect 3 billion. They want to stabilize the Naira. Now, they don't stabilize Naira for 3 weeks, for $3 billion. Where are they going to see more dollars now? That Nigeria is about to take a big dive from a cliff. By the time to buy my land, Zimbabwe, you go to take inspiration from Zimbabwe with what these guys are going to do. We are already hearing that they are planning to print a higher denomination of money so that you can begin to have a 5,000 naira note, 10,000 naira note, 20,000 naira note. Because the way the whole thing is going, they have no way of how they're going to actually end this calamity economically and the rest. They will be giving you all the words you need to know. They will be taking pictures here and there. Kalu that went to America is not bringing anything to you. I mean, somebody sent me a video where they welcoming me to the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ bell. They say me Kalu can ring bell. They are celebrating it in Nigeria. I told you, we are yet to see him with the American president that invited him. In fact, to actually know what they discussed. But Akuri Nigalai is probably drafting the lie they're going to tell you. Or maybe they, I don't know. Right? Look at this.
Wait, please. Yeah, that's right. Hello, sir. Well done, sir.
Nuisance lele. Nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
No doubt. They carry on, they go like a baby, door baby. Yeah. How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? About go inside. They say, man, you can't ring bell. I'm waiting for the video of the bell. Nigeria is in trouble. Bokwari destroyed Nigeria. Thiefnubu will bury Nigeria. And it is not a wish. Just wait for it to play out. I said something the other day. I said, Nigeria could get to a stage where we say even call you go sit down for inside the room and be like, why did I put myself in this kind of wahala? Why did I even want to be the president of anywhere at all? In what is still coming. Because, you see, when they said that Bokwari took Nigeria 100 years back, or backward, it will take consistent good government, reasonable people, with reasonable policies that will break up Nigeria into PCC before Nigeria can actually, it will take like Nigeria another 100 years with the destruction they have brought. With this Kolu, almost 600 years, 600 years. Nigeria is not coming back from this. And it's not my wish for you. It is the result of the wish of some low-thinking Nigerians. And the consequences is here now. And it's up to us. I'm going to take calls. But first, I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea. As usual, I kind of love my tea. But if you are here and you haven't really liked the broadcast, like the broadcast, okay? You should like it. Subscribe if you haven't already and share the broadcast, right? And when I get back, I will take calls. And the number is on your screen, by the way, if you don't really have it. So don't go anywhere. Sorry, I have a caller, but I think I need to quickly add this. For those of us who were shocked when Obasanjo commanded the Yoruba Obas. There are some Yoruba Obas who have started withdrawing all of the traditional titles they gave to Obasanjo. Another one just came in now. It is coming from the Igbimo Apakpo Yoruba Lagbaye. And they are asking what do you call it? They are asking the Olowu and the rest of them not to recognize Obasanjo as you know what I mean? Like, it's getting serious now. The guy said he doesn't care. I'll tell you more about that later. I have a caller on the line. Hello there.
Hello, sir, Mr. Mayegun.
Yes, sir.
My name is Dr. Akinyemi Agbede.
Dr.
Thank you,
sir. How are you, sir?
I'm doing super great. Happy Wednesday. God bless you, sir.
Same to you, sir. Same to you.
So, please, you're going to give me some time, a little bit time. So I want to start with number 3. Let me see, number 3. You are Mr. Mayegun.
You only have just about 3 minutes, so that we can have a lot of other people to join. So if you can manage in between, I'll let you do your thing. Go on, sir.
Yes, I'm very. Don't worry. Yes, now, you said something. Even you are a seer, because you said something that they want to use you, that maybe looking for you. You are absolutely correct, because they wanted to take you as they have taken the. Do you know the then Umaru Diko?
I remember.
Umaru Diko. So that's the way they want to take you from London or everywhere. So you please after this program, please Mr. Mayegun, but very important. See, get in touch with me, please. Very important. That's number 1.
Right.
Yeah. Please. Don't neglect that. Now, you made mention of Joe Biden that
he believed that probably he avoided Tinubu, but he invited him.
Yes. He has to do it. He has to avoid him. He has to, because if Joe Biden wanted to go for his second time bid, he has to avoid. Yes, because if not, I would like all Nigerians, because this is politics with politics now. All Nigerians to please, on the 27th of September, this coming 27th of September, that's when the Republican presidential candidate will be doing their second debate, and all Nigerians should contact Chris Christie, former Chris Christie of New York, of New Jersey, Ambassador Nikki Haley, former President Mike Pence, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, Senator Tim Scott, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and ask those people that they should ask this question: that is it proper or allowable for a sitting U.S. president to be talking with an illegitimate president of a third world country? That's the question. Is it proper or allowable for a sitting U.S. president to be talking with an illegitimate president of a third world country? That's the question they should ask. Those people we ask them. So that's the question they should ask them. Is it proper?
Dr. Agbede.
Up to 3 minutes. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I am going to get in touch with Doctor. Now let's take another one. Hello there.
Hello there, Mayegun. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, this is Stella. Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well done.
So, Lady Stella, is that right?
Yeah, good evening. Yes, God bless you.
And you too.
Well done for all you have been doing.
Thank you.
My major concern is about Nigerians at home. We in the diaspora, we are doing our best.
Yeah.
We are doing everything possible to make Nigeria work. But those in Nigeria, they are not bothered. They are not concerned. Particularly the youths, the younger ones. They are thinking that manna will fall from heaven. Somebody is coming to come and deliver them, me in the diaspora.
Nobody is coming.
Forgetting that the matter at hand is a serious matter. You see them dancing away their lives, going to parties, not thinking about their future. In your eyes, they are mortgaging their lives.
See?
And all they are concerned about is just dancing around, going to parties. Who else will take the country if not them?
You know, they will say it's cruise as well.
Cruise.
Without having to
What are they
ignore those of
cruising?
them who actually came to fight and they got rigged out as well. But I mean,
Then life will be lost unless we want to deceive ourselves. Life will be lost, but they don't know the severity of what is at hand. That is paining me all the time. I listen. You are talking, but their problem is they have deaf ears. As you enter one here, they go to the other, and you see them on the platform. They take everything like joke, joke, joke. This is a serious matter.
let me tell them.
Look at Ukraine. People outside Ukraine, they went back home to fight for their country. You are in the country. In your own eyes, Korokoro, they are taking your life from you.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you could say that will push these people. But like you said, their shege is drawing closer and closer every day.
It's just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time. And by the time it will hit them, it will be something they won't be able to catch up.
It's just a matter of time. I mean, like you can pretend, everybody can live in denial, pretend, right? But when the Bedu enter body, they won't be able to hold it.
Katakata will burst beyond repair.
You know?
So please continue to hammer it to them. Continue to be strong on them. Don't play with them. And we are backing you up. About David,
yes, ma'am.
I know David knows what he will do. But my advice is that he should go to a country that is an enemy to Nigeria, so that they will take him willingly and support him. He should not go to any African country. He should run to an European country that is a enemy to Nigeria, and they will be.
Nigeria cannot bully. Nigeria can't bully
cannot
any
bully
country
them.
in Europe. No way.
In Europe, that is the best. No, it's not about begging Ghana. Ghana will not do anything because they are birds of the same feather. Ghana cannot do anything. They will just hand him over, and that will not happen to him. Amen. So please, he should just go quietly. He doesn't even need to publicize anything. Take his time and just leave. He should not wait to get anything from Ghana. Ghana will not give him anything to go to another country. As he fled to Ghana, he should flee out again. So that is my advice for him.
So much,
and about Kolu, one more thing about Kolu. I think what Dr. Agbede said is very important. People in America, they should do that thing and go that Biden should not speak to an illegitimate president. An illegitimate president walking up around thinking is somebody, is nobody. No. And all of us should have a voice. Yes. Those in diaspora, in America, in UK, all over the world, on that day, we should put up a placard and say he should not speak. If he speak, then it's finished. Thank you. God bless you. Well done.
Too, ma. You have a good one. I have another caller on the line. Is that Chike?
Yes, Baigun.
How you doing,
Chike from Edmonton, Canada.
That's Chike from
Good.
Canada.
How are you?
Don't ask me how did I know, but don't worry. I saw the name that was like, okay, that's Chike. I'm going to say it first before you say this is Chike. Right. How you doing,
Thank you very much, Baigun. I'm doing great. How about you and the family?
I am very well. We thank God too. Thanks a lot for asking.
Nice. Michael, I just want to talk about David.
Please.
It's really unfortunate what has been happening to David, but I mean, are we really surprised? That guy has literally sacrificed himself, his freedom, his peace of mind for Nigeria, just to do investigative journalism, you know? And the reality is that David emerged and came to limelight because that man saw a gap that needed to be filled.
That's right.
You know, he emerged because of the incompetence of the Nigerian media. And of course, Michael, you know, I don't count you as Nigerian media. You're more global media, you know. But Nigerian media, they don't ask questions. Many of them are in bed with politicians. They never speak truth to power. Look at people like Ajuri. Look at people like Femi Adesina. Look at people like Ruben Abati. Look at what they did. I mean, when I was young, when my dad came back from work, I would always get his newspaper just because I wanted to see what Ruben Abati had to say.
His opinion.
But
you are right.
his opinion, I was a fan. But then he worked for Goodluck Jonathan, and see what he did. It was just a disgrace. I mean, now he's cleaning his image now with the Rise News. That's okay. I mean, we can always give people a second chance, but you can never trust the Nigerian media. You know how it is in the UK, Michael. Journalists will ask politicians questions until they resign. They will ask and ask the same questions, and this is after doing tons of investigations.
That's right.
But when you think of investigative journalism in Nigeria, who comes to mind?
You are called the enemy.
Who comes to mind?
Thank God we have David, but nobody comes to mind for me in Nigeria.
Nobody but David. And now see what they want to do to him. And it's nice that he's appealing to Ghana to do the right thing, not to send him back. At least for the record. And it's good that at least he can even appeal to Ghana. That's to show you that Ghana at least has some reputation, according to someone like David Hundeyin, who I know would not have put out that video flippantly. He would have done his research, so he knows what he's talking about. But right now, I mean, I'll tell him.
Like, what would David they do to him? Do they want to just keep him in a place? And then illegally, like they are doing to Nnamdi Kanu right now, lock him up, and that's the solution, right? So that they are now okay. They can do whatever they want now. I mean, I don't understand. Why would you secretly want to get somebody? Chike.
That's what they want to. That's what they want to do to David. They want to get him back because they know that as long as he's in that Ghana, he'll continue to expose them. They want to bring him back and guard him. And trust me, I mean, what they're doing to Nnamdi Kanu is what they want to do to him.
Exactly.
But I mean, yes. But what I'll say is, like,
we've caught him. Yeah, we've caught him. He's here. He's here.
Exactly. He's here. And right now he can't do. All of you that want David to keep talking, let's see what he's going to do while he's in there. But you know what? With all due respect to David, right now he's the least of Ghana's problem. And this is with all due respect to David. And the reason I'm saying this is because I don't know if you've heard, Ghana just filed for bankruptcy.
I know. They made it official because I read it in New York Times that Ghana is essentially bankrupt right now.
Yes. Yeah, they are bankrupt. So David Hundeyin is the least thing they'll be thinking about right now. So your advice to him to leave Africa, I think, is the best thing. Because right now, when countries are in
distress, right?
Hello?
I'm with you. Chicken.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. Yeah, when people are in desperate situations, you know what they can do? They can go all out. And right now, Ghana is not thinking about David. They're just thinking about how to resolve their bankruptcy issues, and they will not mind giving David up. So your advice
to him, to give them something to help their economy for now.
Exactly.
Even if Nigeria is going through hell, it doesn't matter. Whatever Nigeria can offer, right? If David is going to be the bargaining chip, they will drop him without blinking.
Absolutely. They will take it without blinking. Absolutely, Michael. I agree with you. So yes. So right now, I mean, let him appeal to as many other countries as he can. If it's Canada, let him appeal to Canada. He needs to get out of Africa. So that advice you gave him is the best, and he needs to stay alive and remain a free man.
Exactly.
And for all that he's been doing, Michael, I believe that history will be kind to that man. History will be kind to him.
Thank you so much, Chike. I believe that too. And then, he's such an asset that it will be a shame if anything should happen to David, that nobody actually comes through to get him and get him sorted.
Oh, yeah.
It will be a shame, but I don't want to think it.
It will be a shame. It will be a shame. But like these are politicians are shameless. But let's see what's going to happen. I believe he'll be okay. But I think we all need to actually amplify this and ensure that the Nigerian government doesn't take him.
I know.
Yes, Michael Baba, I heal. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much too. I mean, thanks for all those generosity too. And I see your hand for those super chat as well, right?
Nothing they happen, Michael. Anytime.
Thanks, Papa. You have a good one, okay? So let
you
me
too, bro.
Take another one. That's Chike calling in from Canada. And it will be an honor, by the way, if David can just move to Canada. A lot of you there will make that place a home for him. I bet that. But yeah, hello.
Hi, brother Mayegun. This is Beatrice.
Oh, Lady Beatrice, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. How is your family?
We are very well. Thank you, ma'am.
I pray for you. God will protect you and your family.
Amen, ma'am.
As you're fighting for the whole country, God will fight for you.
Amen. And you too. Thank you, ma'am. Please.
Thank you so much. I want to make just a few comments.
Please.
Concerning what you're talking about today and what I have seen myself. First of all, concerning the journey of our president to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
We all know when Obama's place of birth was argued about, when the whole America were kind of shaped by whether Obama was an American, whether he this and that.
I know.
In order to make sure that the people were satisfied, Obama came up and produced everything about him.
He did.
And published it. That I was born in this country, or I am a citizen of the United States, and the rest of it.
And this was my dad, my mom, and this was my dad.
My
this
dad
is my story. And you can go talk to all of those people related to them. He didn't hire lawyers or PR to cover it up.
Nothing like that. It was made so simple.
Yes.
So on the grounds of that, I have been to the United States myself. I worked a little bit for them. Yes. I didn't. So the America should help Africa. America should help Africa. The fact that people are trooping out of Africa to the United States, to all parts of European countries, looking for a safe haven, is because of the leadership in Africa.
That's right.
And if America and all these leaders who are destroying Africa are not willing to address that issue, they should not bother the African young people who are looking for a better place to live. You are the one coming to suck their natural resources. You are the one bargaining with their leaders to make life impossible for them. And then they are coming to your country to see how they can at least get a refugee status. Many of them have died passing through all this.
Because of that journey, you're right.
That journey. And those that succeeded, you make a fool of them. You put them in, what do you call that place? They put them...
Detention centers, ma. Deportation centers.
Deportation centers. I was watching a program. Why the West will not allow Africa, because they depend on Africa. Everything they are living on, everything they are working on, everything that has made them rich is coming from Africa. You can as well continue doing that, but allow the Africans to have take your knees out of their neck.
Exactly, a share of their own prosperity. And if they're not going to have that, and they won't have a chance of dealing with their corrupt leaders without the West backing them, then there's no point in stopping us from coming to these Western countries.
I did my thesis, my master's thesis on migration when they did what do you call it, Brexit issue. It was a terrible thing. It nearly choked me. That's what I wrote on my
discoveries. Yeah.
I researched. So on one occasion, I was in the train, and we were discussing how Africans should go back to their country. I was so angry. I shouted at them. I said, "Will you shut up your mouth?"
As it should be.
I said, "Have you researched? Do you read your history? Without Africa, you are nothing."
Yeah, they are nothing, no.
Without Africa, you have nothing. Show me the gold from your land. Show me where the oil is coming from your land. You make life impossible for the African. You work with their leaders, and you still talk about Africa as if Africa is the worst country in the whole world.
You know, like we did all this to ourselves.
If America does not come out now to speak for us, to shamefully come out and say, this is what we've been doing, it's time to stop. They are not our friends. All these leaders, you can see the French president, he's almost shameful everywhere he is. You can see it on his face. Because you are living like a thief. We are living by stealing. And because you are a thief, and then the country you are stealing from have to go under their knees to beg from you to eat.
Honestly.
And then we should praise you for stealing everything from us.
We should be grateful to them. That's exactly
what we should be very grateful. We should crawl. My dear brother.
Sir, ma'am, sorry.
I don't know if you know Chris Anyanwu of NTA in those days.
I do know. I remember Chris. Yeah, I do.
Chris Anyanwu. She was a tough investigative journalist.
I do remember.
We came from the same place. You know what they did to her because of speaking truth to power? Thank God she survived it. They don't want journalists to survive in Africa. And even the journalists here, let me tell you, the journalists here, they are living on talking negative about Africa. You know what? I did a research and I asked, why is it that you are only talking about negative things? I lived in America. I saw a lot of dirtiness in America. I saw people like killing
poverty
people.
Too.
Poverty. I saw little boys carrying guns. Even police would be there. Nothing would happen. And you don't see the stories on British BBC News. You don't see it anywhere. But if you see, they catch a small African boy selling drugs for an European dealer.
Yeah.
They will catch that African boy. Then they will name his country.
Yes.
A Nigerian was caught. They will not name the dealer.
Yeah, especially if the dealer is actually their own citizen. Yeah,
the dealer is their citizen. But that African boy is a refugee who is selling that drug to support himself. Exactly. So how long do we suffer this type of nonsense?
I think it will have to be the day we all agree to end it, or else
coming to the problem of the legitimacy of our presidency. Why should any president of this world be shaking hands with an illegitimate president?
A big question, man.
Talking about certificates, that man, if it is proved that he forged this certificate, they have made nonsense of all of us who suffered to go to school.
Honestly.
They have made nonsense of every Nigerian who went to school. They have made nonsense of all of us who suffered to go to school. You see, so we cannot continue like this. It's not about him.
Thank you so much.
It is about the future. It's about the youth. It's about our country. And it must be addressed.
Well,
so keep talking truth to power.
Yes,
one day they will speak about it.
Eventually, man. Thank you so much for all of that, man. You have a good evening, man. Okay.
You too.
That's a good one from our lady Beatrice on the beat. Thanks a lot. That was more or less like a mother speaking from the heart. Like, why? With so many questions, but really no answer. Hello there.
Good evening, Mayigo. This is Emmanuel from London.
Hi there, Emmanuel.
I would just like to ask you a question that is relevant to Nigeria in particular and Africa as a whole. Okay. If we all believe in democracy, and I don't mean democracy in the Western style democracy, which is actually a crony capitalism masked as a democracy, that is kind of spouting and trying to project itself as the higher authority for everyone to emulate.
Like the standard for us all, kind of.
Exactly, exactly. But my take is not to like denigrate them, but is to delve into what democracy really is, which comes from the will of the people, putting representative in the seat of power for the sake of for the sake of the populace, the entire populace. Now, I gave you this preamble just to come to the crook of my question, which is,
hopefully I'll grasp
I personally do not believe in monarchical democracy. And regardless of our history, which is important because our history is our identity, our language is our identity, our culture is our identity. However, if we want to go ahead as a people, whether in Nigeria, whether in a separated nation, or whether in a confederacy, we should think very deeply about what style of democracy do we want to live. Is it monarchical democracy, which is the rule of the local monarchs, which are the political obas, that will be working
the government of the kings at the head. So monarchical.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So my question is this: if we don't believe that anybody should be in the seat of power, which is not there by the majority consensus, which represent democracy, why is it that we should take issue with what Obasanjo has done? Are we taking issue with what Obasanjo has done based on cultural heritage of respecting the stool, or are we kind of still seeing in 2023 ourselves in a place or in a Nigeria where monarchs should still be the authority in what represents the democracy of Nigeria? I don't know whether my question was too convoluted.
Right, see, if I get you right, you are trying to ask a question along the democracy setting that we have in Nigeria today, which actually doesn't give any representation or role, particularly, let's say role, constitutional role to royal fathers, even though they still exist. Okay? So if I get you right, then it means if we look at the constitutional formation of what we call democracy in Nigeria today, the government, the president, which is the federal, the governor, and then all these other ones that are elected like properly, they have more constitutional power or role than the traditional rulers. But now going to what Obasanjo did, right, where we believe that he spoke to the royal fathers condescendingly. And your own question is about, this is 2023. We all know that the Yoruba, the Obas or the kings or royal fathers, or have you, they are only whatever the politician says they are. So they don't have that control. So you are wondering or asking, if we feel offended, culturally or traditionally, how Obasanjo spoke to the Obas, without looking into why Obasanjo spoke to the Obas like that, so we should begin to question what kind of democracy we want. Is it the one that these Obas are going to have a real constitutional rule? Everybody will call it constitutional democracy. Or did I get you right before I go too further? Did I get
no? You're absolutely getting it right.
So that comparison of how people reacted, even though everybody knows that democracy here, elective democracy, does not give any role to the royal father. So if we don't feel like a politician or a sort of a political office holder should talk down on the royal father, then we should probably question what kind of democracy do we want? Is it the one that our royal fathers still exist and play roles, or they shouldn't just exist and leave it for the elective right? If I get that right, go on.
Yes, yes. You summarize it just as I meant it, but with just a little caveat. which is, I said all this because regardless whether Nigeria was the beacon of hope for the black man and woman of the entire world, or regardless of what Nigeria is right now, I still do not believe that people that I do not decide to represent me in the seat of power, and therefore, by consequence, have the power to decide my fate and the fate or who is near and dear to me or who is my countryman.
Now, you know what I'm going to say to help that notion, okay? I'm going to make few explanation that should help, okay? It's not going to be outright answer to your question, okay? But it's going to help you to also understand wherever my answer leads to at the end of the day. But it's not really going to be a direct answer to your this, okay? You see, if Nigeria has a confederation, for example, whereby some autonomy are granted to the regions, all right? So that simply means the regions, right, they can decide the type of politics, okay, the form of government they want as well in that autonomy. So, for example, let's say in the western part of Nigeria, the autonomy gives the western region the autonomy to form their own government, make their own laws, tax their own people, and do their own thing, just like it was in the early 60s during independence, right? So the Yorubas can come together and say, we are going to, I'm just using an example now, right? Because around that time, we don't need anybody's approval or anything to do what we want to do. We've already gotten the autonomy. Now, inside that autonomy, we can now say, okay, we're going to have one unicameral house, okay? And we are also going to have elective positions for royal fathers. And the process of electing obas will also be very well defined in that statute book of the Western region. Sure, you get. Before you can be called an oba, how do you become an oba? It will all be well defined and all that. So when somebody appears and say, I am the oba of so-so area, so constitutionally, his role is defined. If he also, if he can also hold automatic representation or seats wherever a decision is being made about the whole region, okay? So that clear explanation will be there. In a way, we can do that. In Eastern Nigeria,
but Michael, I apologize just to cut you out there.
That's fine. Yeah.
I get your point. I get your point. And
really,
apologize.
Where I was actually going is that we can't force the whole Nigeria, right, to take up anything that will actually define the role of royal fathers. It's going to be forever. It can only happen where they have.
Go on. But Mayegu, sorry. Mayegu, sorry.
It's okay. Go on. I'll let you speak,
please. Because if you are an Oba and your son or daughter becomes a prince or a princess, you are there by descendancy. You are not there because I decide you to be there. And regardless of whatever style of governance you decide within a constitutional democracy, a monarchical stool is by descendancy. It's not by the choice of the people.
The same thing. Let me say this quickly, right? You know, it's still the same thing. When I said it will be stated in the statute book, it's just like saying you import what you call our culture and succession rules in these traditional stools, right? So all you have to do is to put it there. Anybody occupying that post, you know automatically, right, that they are representing these people. So if constitutionally it says they are, right? So when all of them meet, when all of us meet from every part of, for example, from that region, right, we are representing our people, okay? It gives that symbol of authority. But what I'm saying is that it can't be replicated or suggested across Nigeria. And when you mentioned confederation, I was like, that would be a good idea, where indeed Nigeria is still Nigeria, but everybody has their own autonomy from everywhere. They decide their fate on how they want to be governed. But you see the entire country as well. In that statute, all of us will still send people to discuss about the whole country. Sure, you get at a house. When it comes to how do we decide what happened to us, right? That can be decided regionally with autonomous, what have you, reduce tension at the center, okay? And defining those roles, all right? Start from writing it as law, not suggestion, not something that we say, well, that's how it should be. If it's not really written, right? Somebody, some madman can come tomorrow and just infuse something like they do in Nigeria. But that would be my own kind of way of establishing the role of royal fathers, if there will be any. It will be better in a confederation.
But Mayego, do you personally believe that in a democracy there should still be people on the that are part of the decision maker of a nation, regardless whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Uganda, that are monarchical in nature, and they are not there because they are chosen by you, but they have authority over you simply because of descendancy from a monarchical stool that gives regard to heritage and culture in a democracy of 2023. Do you like believe that? No, and is a question for you now.
Right, that believing that a monarchical or a monarchy or a king in a democratic or monarchical democracy, whatever name is given to it, to have an authority over me. That's the same thing I'm saying, that it doesn't really matter who have that authority, as long as it is stated in an edict or what in a statute book. Let's use United Kingdom as an example, right? You know, the queen or the king is the head of government in this country. Well, it doesn't run the country. You know that?
No, I don't believe that. I beg you, no, please don't let us don't let us go there.
No, you may talk about influence. See, if we want to talk, if you and I want to talk now, let's use facts for those who are listening. I don't want to use projections, okay? I don't want to use things like.
No, I will give you my counterfacts. Absolutely.
You know, structurally, there is a government in the UK. You know that, and the head of that government is the king or the queen, but it doesn't run the country. Okay. There is a house.
Well, that's the propaganda that they sell to us.
Sorry?
That's the propaganda that they sell to us.
You're not playing along now. I don't want to use conspiracy. I live in the UK.
No,
doesn't run the country. Sure. Listen, the king or the queen doesn't run the country. There's a government in the UK. Okay? There's an elective post and all of that. But the acknowledgement given to the queen or the king is that they give their emblem to whatever decision is taken by the politicians. Now, you influencing it that, okay, don't go that way or go this way. That's normal. But structurally in the UK, there is a monarchy. But the monarchy doesn't run the UK. So we can have the same thing right there if that's what we think will work for us. Okay? Head of government can still be that monarchy. All right? And then there will be structure that actually runs the country. You see, what runs the country? What runs the country is the government. If you go to Burma, in Burma, they have a king like we have in the UK. But they also have a government in Bola. Yeah. So what they do is that whenever the politicians do all their thing, for their government to be effective in that country, the king will put his blessing on it. It's just ceremonial. So we can have the same thing, whereby our kings or what have you are really influential. But it must be the law that all of us, you and I, can say, okay, if the king changed this, or if the queen changed that, the politicians of the country, the government, they have to go that route. But it must be stated. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at?
Yes.
Now? Yeah? It has to be something that all of us have to agree. You know, me and you won't have to change.
Yeah, can I just give?
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Can I just give you just one last point, and I don't want to take more of your time. I just want to counter slightly, without being argumentative, on what you just said. In the last 20 years, maybe nobody knows, but in the last 20 years, before you could be part of the House of Lords, you could just be part of the House of Lords, okay? The ones that accept or reject draft of laws from the House of Commons, okay? They call the House of Commons. Yeah. You could only be part of the House of Lords if you were by blood, or if you were, related to the monarchy. So. There is so just to put it in parallel for everyone to understand, you could simply become a senator in Nigeria if you were the cousin of the president. Just to put it in parallel in a very hypothetical world. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And those are the ones that they don't draft the law, but they reject the law if they don't like it, and you go and rewrite it as a commoner, part of the House of Commons, which are the representatives that we vote for. But let us leave that aside. I believe, and I get your point. I get your point that in Nigeria, if we believe in a democracy and we still want to drag this monarchs that are voted by nobody, but that they might probably have authoritative power in Nigeria.
You get, because
it has to be written. No, I get you. Yes, obviously.
Yeah, because it
but
was
the thing is that
style. They use the same style to kind of bury them. We all know how it all started. For us in Yoruba land, for example, right, when politics of independence was kind of cooking up, kings were running for office. Kings, I'm talking about traditional rulers in Yoruba land. They were running for political offices. They were sitting at the parliament in Ibadan. Royal fathers, elected, even though they have already been king, they ran for office. And you know what I mean? Like, because they were allowed to participate. But immediately after the military, in order not to share their power with anybody, what did they do? They decided to go and put them under the local government. They used law to push them to that stage. And since then, they've never come out of it. So it's the same thing if people decide that this is what we want now, right? Trust me, they can be put in a position that all of us will have to kind of follow it too. But a working system that all of us can say, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? Like defined rules.
What the rule of law is actually abided by.
Yeah, But thank you so much anyway for having that kind of point of view with me. A lot of people probably sat there and they're like, okay, some agree with you, some agree with me. But the point is that we've all learned one or two things out of that. So thank you.
Definitely. Thank you very much for what you're doing.
A good one, okay? Appreciate that.
You too.
So we are coming closer and closer to the end of the chat, but the line is still very much open. I have another caller, by the way. Hello there.
Hello, my Gio.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. This is Zeus. Yes, sir.
I get it.
Okay. How is your family, Maegu? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Maegu, I want to take us real quick about the global situation and what is going on in Nigeria at the moment. Remember when Nigeria got thrown?
Let's go.
Remember when Nigeria got thrown out of the BRICS?
Say that again.
Yeah, the BRICS, BRICS.
Oh yeah, got kicked out, got rejected rather.
Got rejected, thrown. Even the VP he flew over there.
He was
in South
Russia,
Africa,
yes.
and still. Yeah, and they didn't even listen to him. So if you look at it, the global economy is trying to change, and Russia, India, and China are trying to see how they're going to bring. Yeah, they're trying to see how they're going to change American imperialism in the global stage, as the dollar being the standard of how business is being done. So right now, the BRICS, they have like 40% of the world population and 25% of the global GDP. So they're like a powerhouse, and they're trying to build a development bank, and that's where Nigeria got their interest. So they're trying to see how they're gonna go there and see if they can get some money out of it. But if you look at the global situation, you have the IMF and you have the World Bank.
Yes.
Nigeria cannot confidently stand up against the West because Nigeria is indebted to them. So if you see what USA is trying to do is, if China, Russia, and all these other BRICS countries are trying to take over, reduce the dollar and take another foreign currency as the exchange powerhouse of the world, who are they going to hold it to ransom? Is Nigeria. Because Nigeria have a weak economy. Nigeria have a weak economy, a weak political standard, that we have one of the most corrupt politicians across all Africa. So with the kind of money they've been stealing, that is why the BRICS rejected them. Because they accepted Ethiopia. Can you imagine?
Bringing something to the table, right? Everybody, Brazil said, we're coming with this social size of economy. This one is saying, and we have a projection that in so time, we're going to be this size. India is coming with one. China is there. Russia is there. Other smaller countries that are also joining are bringing things to the table. Nigeria was coming to the table with a bowl. Help us.
Bambiala.
Help us.
Yes.
Please. Like, what is this?
So,
We are trying to put resources together and lift our countries out of this. You are coming here begging. My friend, get out of here. That's the problem.
Exactly what happened. So now USA have to rely on the weak Nigeria. The weak Nigeria. USA have to rely on the weak Nigeria by bringing in a puppet. So we've been denied by BRICS. For me, it's kind of an irony, kind of.
So we're going to remain in the house of the West, IMF, World Bank, and all of them.
Yeah, so we are beggars to them, and that is one thing I want to say. Then my final note is that on the Honduran issue, Nigerian press is being bought over. We don't have free press in Nigeria. Almost all the media houses in Nigeria is being owned by one politician or the other. You know, hitting the drum, and the press people are dancing to it.
I know.
You know, confusing the populace. So all I'm saying about the Honduran, you gave him a good advice, but I'm asking our listeners, please, if there's any way you can support him by subscribing to his stuff and maybe putting some money in it. And I overheard him saying something like that. Nigerians don't subscribe and they're not paying subscribers to him.
You know,
yeah, it mustn't be when
much for him to ever have to come to public and say, I use my personal fund for most of these things. And not that I'm complaining or so, but a lot of Nigerians don't even like appreciate it. And that's sad.
Yeah.
For somebody like you.
Even you, my good, like all the people standing for us, we should actually support them, you know, somehow. Every Nigerian standing for us is they're like swimming against the wind,
you know.
So we should kind of support them. So it's not only when they have been captured or something happened to them that we show our support, like Mobad and all those people.
And we begin to do hashtag free this, free that.
Yeah, Mobad and this and all that. So now that they are still alive, we can support them. My God, that's where I end my talk today. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much as well for stopping by as usual, right? You have a good one. That says Zeus on the beat. I am going to take just one more call. Now, listen, if you have my, my direct number, don't think you can call that my direct number when I'm on the show. It's not connected to the show. So I think I have somebody who is calling me directly and I don't even have your number. I don't have your name. So I advise you should not waste your time. The phone is not connected to the studio, so there's no point in calling it. What's the point? Hello there. I'm gonna. I think I have a caller. I had a caller. It's dropped off. So let me take another one. That will be my last call for tonight. Okay. Here we go. Hello there.
Hey, Maye Gumaba.
Yes, sir.
Maye Gumaba.
Baba.
I just make a try on now, so come like that.
So there's always a first time, Baba. That's so you go try them and you go just enter. Yeah. If you don't try, you don't know. Sure you get. Thanks for not giving up.
Yes, so you've been doing great. Too. I've been following you since 2018 now, but it's been a while. I've watched your program. So connecting back to last. Okay. Yes. I'm really glad. Yes. You see, the last caller was talking about appreciating people. You know, that's one thing about Nigerians. We don't appreciate people that are doing great. You know, it's so funny that David Udein, because I was in Nigeria last year, and they are not really. People don't even know him. You know, even the report that was written by
much like we do.
Yeah,
they don't mean like.
Yeah, what he's doing. Yeah, they don't really appreciate him. Unlike the celebrity, you know, on the people unlike people that are singing, people like Naira Marley and all those, you know. So they don't really appreciate because I was watching Shem Kuti. I wish you can bring Shem Kuti to your program. He was talking about cultism and people like encouraging bad way of life. They are not allowing people to see the other way of life. I mean the leaders in Nigeria, they believe that you have to be corrupt, you have to be in a court before you take it, and that's why most of the youth in Nigeria, their brain, their mindset is not right. So they don't really value or appreciate people that are doing great things. You know, they always like that shortcut of a thing. So
wasting time. Long story about leave that thing, like all that, you know.
Yes, which is very bad. But thank God that the Peter Obi, the obedient movement is, I think, has really tried in terms of raising the consciousness of the people. You know, unlike before. Now they can know what is going on in the court. They know that there's no judiciary system in Nigeria now. Some of them that did not believe before, when we were telling them, now they know. Like Showore we say, we are in. Some of us are in 2032. Some people are still in 2023. We already know what is going on.
So therefore, there's so much missing gap. And
yes,
catch up, man. God damn it.
Yes, because they are distracted with a lot of things. You know, they are distracted with entertainment and you know, different things.
Fortunately, Baba. Well, we have to give it, like you said, we have to give it to the obedient who have remained consistent. People hate, a lot of these guys hate them for being like they're not giving up. I give up now. It don't do now.
I voted for AAC in the last election. You get it, but I can see that the obedient movement, there are more people there. So
like it's so obvious.
There are more
it is so obvious. That people who
we
know
have to keep the fire burning.
People who know them, they should tell themselves the truth. These are young Nigerians who are done, who are frustrated, they are tired, they exist. And if you have a chance of challenging the system, it's just that Peter Obi happened to be the beneficiary. It could have been anybody.
It could have been anybody.
It could have been anybody. You know, so the fact that
I was telling continue. Okay, I was telling someone that Peter Obi, that APC is even lucky to have Peter Obi as the people the youth are following. That if they have Showore, if Showore have that massive support, by now they will have been running a skater, because he will not wait for them to. All those ones that Peter Obi is saying that we go to court. The youth to be burning like anything.
If they do that election, let us all tell ourselves this truth for goodness sake, okay? If to say now Showore they can rig to third, and there is evidence that they rigged him, Baba, there will be no swearing in. Don't let us lie to ourselves. That Showore look at his bank and he sees 10 million people voted for him. They changed the number and he have the evidence. Or they should be thankful that it is Obi. You are right. And Obi is one of them. He knows what it's going to be like if they shut Nigeria down and all their businesses and all their money, everything. He knows what that means. So rather everybody calm down. But Showore no get billions that he is going to protect from anywhere. You know?
Yes, exactly.
They should be thankful. You are right.
Exactly.
I never thought of that.
They should be thankful.
I never thought of that. You know?
They should be thankful.
They should be thankful.
So So now that they have APC is going to give them, like, it's going to make the youth more conscious, because the way the economy is going now, you know, it's going down. So they have to be awake now by force. Either they like it or not, they will be. So that is what I have to say.
God bless you, Baba. Thanks for not giving up and trying to call in tonight. Okay, you have a good one. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, sir.
Yeah, bye.
Now that's for tonight, and I want to say thank you to all of you. I'm sorry if I didn't mention your super chat, but thank you. At least everything is right there on the screen. So I'm going to say thank you to all of you at the same time. If you're watching me still on YouTube or Facebook, remember, just like the video before you go. You know, that's us now. And if you joined us at midway, also, you can watch this broadcaster from the start. Or you wait till tomorrow when I actually have to show you the replay before the next one. Tomorrow is also the day we are probably going to receive the first batch of Thiefnubu's record. The record of a Miss Bola A. Tinubu. Now tomorrow we're going to get out. So you don't want to miss that, would you? Want to miss that? Nah. Thank you, everybody. I will see you some other time. Stay safe and good night.
Máyégún làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dódòdó.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Máyégún làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dódòdó.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Máyégún ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Máyégún já wa sí.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Bó bá ṣe eré àní Máyégún máa wí.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Máyégún dáyàrí politico.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Máyégún.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Àní Máyégún làwa mọ̀ tó dódòdó.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà wán.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá ti ń gba rìbá.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Aṣòfin ti ń rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣeré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣeré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀gọ̀ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o ákàmù máyé ègún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lúwẹ̀ túnra kì máyé ègún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lúwẹ̀ túnra kì o ẹ̀yin bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
máyé ègún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lúwẹ̀ túnra kì máyé ègún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lúwẹ̀ túnra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.